the Falcons. We have 2 Falcons picks to talk about.
Yes.
Okay? Because they came back into the first round. And this is what I love about Terry Fontenot. We don't know. We don't know what he's going to do. The Falcons had 5 picks coming into today. They're gonna trade down. They're going to want to recoup some picks. No, we're giving up. We're mortgaging the house and our Airbnb. Doesn't matter. We're mortgaging all of it. We want 2 edge rushers. It's better than having one of the top 5 edge rushers in this class. 2 of them.
2 of them
this year. And that's what they did. They take Jalon Walker at 15. And then there was a clip. I wasn't able to watch much of the broadcast. There was a clip where it looks like, I don't know if they're talking to Arthur Blank, but they're all looking at a paper and they're nodding and they're pointing. And I think they were mapping out the trade. They're like, look, Jalon Walker at 15. Weren't expecting him to be here. But the other guy we might have wanted at 15, if he falls, we're going to come back and get him. We're going to get both of them. We're going to get both. So they get Jalon Walker at 15 and James Pearce Jr. at 26, trading back up into the first round, giving up next year's first rounder to get James Pearce Jr., 2 pass rushers for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the biggest splashes of the draft. I mean, this is a wild sequence of moves. Jalon Walker is the 8th overall player on the consensus board, and James Pearce Jr. ended up sliding all the way down to 32 because of the because of the red flag for him is attitude and work ethic, right? There's a general sense that he doesn't put 100% effort into what he's doing in the building, on the field. Generally, it's a does he want it enough thing, right? And that's going to terrify some teams because what they're looking for is the guys that will run through a brick wall for this opportunity, right? And he might not do that. So that's why he was sliding. The Jalon Walker thing is interesting because a lot of, he was the consensus top 10 player. We were expecting him to go to Carolina, somewhere else. And I think you're right. There is a very real chance that they simply did not imagine a scenario where Jalon Walker was available at pick 15. And actually, whereas we were assuming the teams that needed edge rushers would effectively just select, the edge rusher that had a red flag that they didn't really care about, and it would kind of work out. What seemed to happen is actually all of them just slid further down because everybody was sort of scared of the same things. And eventually Jalon Walker slides as far as Atlanta. They grab him. And the trade up to get James Pearce only makes sense to me if you didn't think you were going to get Walker in the first place, because otherwise you would have just taken James Pearce with 15. It only kind of makes sense if Walker's too good to turn down at this pick, but we also want James Pearce at this pick. We think he's worth this. So we're willing to cash in next year's first round pick the way, the Texans did for Will Anderson, the way the Rams did with Braden Fisk, and, basically just cheat, cash in next year's picks now and take the kind of added premium that involves. But in order to do that, you're basically saying he's worth a top 10 pick this year as well. And the only reason you wouldn't therefore take him then is if you just had no scenario that Jalon Walker would be available. So, I mean, dude, those are 2 ballers on the field. Now, the attitude thing for James Pearce is a real concern. It's a real thing. There's a reason he was sliding. But in terms of on the field talent, the Falcons just added 2 of the best 4 pass rushers in this draft.
And fascinating differences in the 2 players, right? Jalon Walker was the guy. Remember, Chris Sims was on the show just a couple days ago saying, everybody tells me about his character first. I hate when they tell me about his character first. I want to know about the football player. Well, Jalon Walker is one of those character guys. Well, Pearce was the opposite, where it's like, man, if Pearce had Jalon Walker's character, he goes top 5. And if Walker had James Pearce's production, he goes top 5. That's just the reality of this. So you've got productive player with likes to play video games too much, with Jalon Walker, shown flashes, played 2 positions, theoretical upside. You got both. A great case study next to each other. So the Falcons doubling down on 2 pass rushers, James Pearce and Jalon Walker, to go with. Last year, they didn't go pass rusher high. They went Michael Penix Jr. instead, and then picked up 3 defensive linemen later. Ruka Rororo on the interior, Brandon Dorless, Braylon Trice later. Both of those guys hurt as rookies. So they are throwing a lot at this position. Also signed Leonard Floyd this offseason. They had Arnold Ebiketie there. So they were loading up saying, we will rush the passer better than we have in the past. Didn't realize until I saw this later. I was mentioning Raheem Morris's defense that tends to drop their edges into coverage. Jeff Ulbrich comes in as the new defensive coordinator. Not sure they're going to do that as often, but I'm interested to know, do they actually see Jalon Walker as more of a linebacker? I don't know if anybody's heard their press conference yet. They usually do those while we're alive, so we'll catch up on it later. I do wonder if they see him as more of a hybrid player and Pearce as a true edge, and if they will lean into that versatility. So that'll be interesting as well. But yeah, aggressive move by the Falcons, stealing the show, I think, as far as drama goes for the second straight year.
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. Over 50% of the people listening to this are not subscribed right now. So click that button, and then we can get back to whatever it is Steve's telling you about. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about each player a little bit. Let's start with James Pearce, just because he's the guy they kind of traded back up for, and therefore are valuing as like a top. They're valuing him where his talent effectively says he should be. And as much as, so leave the attitude, effort stuff to one side for a minute, just focus on the field. A year ago, when we came out of the draft and we were saying, what's the way too early mock draft for next year look like? Who are we talking about? We're talking about Mason Graham. We're talking about James Pearce Jr. James Pearce Jr. was a potential #1 overall pick coming out of last year's draft and wasn't like he was bad this past season, right? This guy had a 98th percentile like pass rush win rate, a pass rush win rate of 23%. It's off the charts good. This is not a guy who, you know, we've been talking about these unproductive edge rushers. This is somebody who's tall, long, twitchy as hell, has a 1.53 second get off, I think, a 4.5 type of 40. This is an explosive, fast, twitchy pass rusher who also got a ton of pressure, right? 50 something pressures last season, an absurd pass rush win rate. He has been exceptionally productive, even with the flaws in his game. And I think there are some flaws in his game, right? I don't know that his change of direction is phenomenal. I think he fails to kind of finish a lot of plays sometimes. And I think there are some concerns there, but that dude has been exceptionally productive despite those flaws. And I think that's definitely something to bet on.
Yeah, Pearce, his movement looks special. Love the way, you know, he flows, looks like a wide receiver in body type a little bit and in movement. So I like a lot about Pearce's game. Jalon Walker, similar fascinating story because he literally split his time between linebacker and edge. He's got some incredible edge rush reps in there. He finishes plays extremely well. He can track down quarterbacks. He's just got a good feel for playing football. But he's got like 350 career pass rushes in his, you know, yeah. And that's it, and about 1,000 snaps of experience. So here's the thing: he might be on the Abdul Carter. He's not a freak athlete like Abdul Carter, or maybe as freaky as Abdul Carter, I don't think, as far as bend and everything, but he's close. And maybe he's on that trajectory. He's just a year behind of, hey, make him a full-time edge and we'll see that development. So that's what's intriguing about Walker, in addition to the character stuff. And, hey, if you do need to drop him into coverage, he's pretty good in space and he could spy quarterbacks. And he does a lot of just, you love his tackling ability, like very simple football things that Jalon Walker does well.
I mean, I ranked him as the second best edge rusher in this draft. I think if you just make him a full-time edge rusher, he can be a phenomenal impact player. Like some people thought he gets talked about as being undersized. He's 6'2", 245. Abdul Carter is 6'3", 251. Like, you're telling me 6 pounds and an inch is the difference between undersized and blue chip prospect? Like, I'm not buying that, right? Jalon Walker can absolutely dominate as a full-time edge rusher. He's got insane bend. He can turn a really tight arc, even inside against guards. I thought he was way more powerful than you expect for that size. Like, he packs a punch. He's compact. He can run through offensive linemen. Like you said, I love his fundamentals. The dude tackles well, puts a shoulder in, wraps his arms, brings guys to the ground. He's one of the best spies you're ever going to see. Like, his spying ability, his ability to clean up and track down a quarterback, like clean up a play, is absolutely insane. It's nuts. He's got a really good long arm. Like, he's got some moves in there as well. I think given his lack of experience and how good he already is as an edge rusher, I think he can be an absolute dominant force.
Just to recap the trade as well, with the Pearce trade, the Falcons moved up from 46 to 26. And to make that 20 spot move, they gave up next year's first rounder. And then they gave up a 7 and got back a 4. So forget the 7 and the 4 just for a minute. The crux of it is to move up 20 spots, next year's first rounder. Just like Jacksonville had to give up next year's first rounder and a 2 to move up the 3 spots at the top of the draft. It's an aggressive move for Atlanta, who I believe have 2 picks left in this draft, unless this is not updated properly. I think they have 3. I think they have 3 picks left, 101, and then 2 more. So that's it. So they're coming away with James Pearce, Jalon Walker, and 3 other picks as of now in this draft. But again, thought process wise, they're saying this is next year's first rounder. We're getting both of them right now. Let's get this pass rush better. It's one of the worst in the NFL by far. They had to change their entire scheme to get after the quarterback, blitz like crazy. So they're trusting these guys to get after the QB.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.